Chapter 29. Mackenzie, Carolyn, and Maggie had been shoved into a white minivan, the kind a soccer mom would drive, with snack wrappers pushed down between the seats and a set of child's fingerprints marring the window. Sitting bound and gagged in the back seat, Mackenzie had the insane urge to laugh. She'd been trafficked to men tattooed in mayhem, and all she could smell was rotten banana. When the driver of the van pulled up at Dutton's one and only luxury hotel, the Prestige Plaza, she closed her eyes against the utter surrealism. She'd been expecting a grungy warehouse or a derelict apartment block, but at the end of the world, it seemed the meek had not inherited the earth. Instead, the scum were rising and making themselves comfortable between premium Egyptian cotton sheets. The door slid open, and Caroline shrank back against Mackenzie, a muffled scream coming from beneath her gag. "Shut up, bitch," said a biker, pulling Caroline from the van. But there was no venom behind his words. The men on motorcycles who had escorted them were relaxed and joking with one another, pleased at a job well done. There was an air of excited expectation that had Mackenzie's skin crawling. Mackenzie and Maggie were dragged from the van, blinking at the row of motorcycles parked beneath the grand awning of the hotel. Instead of a bellhop, a woman greeted the returned marauders. Clad in tight, ripped jeans, she had lurid tattoos covering every inch of skin bared by her midriff tank top. The lush hair that spilled down her back was as black as the makeup rimming her eyes that were gleeful. "Boys, what have you brought me?" she drawled, stopping short of the women and assessing them. "Only 3?" She raised one eyebrow. "Come on, Gemma, this is a good haul, and you know it," said the seedy man who had been giving orders. He strode to Gemma and snaked an arm around her waist, lowering his head to suck lasciviously on her neck. She pushed at him impatiently. "How many people are still in the town?" "Who cares? It's just another ass end of the world town," he replied. "No, it's not," Gemma snapped. "Sanford has a whiskey distillery, and I want it." They turned away, their voices lost to Mackenzie. Her family was in Sanford, Chloe and Rachel and Kat and Jake. How much danger were they in? Whatever negotiations Townsend thought he'd pulled off meant nothing to these people. "Take them to one of the empty suites," Gemma tossed over her shoulder. "The one at the end of the corridor hasn't been used yet. And hands off the merchandise, understood?" There was grumbling as the women were escorted inside. "Gemma has West pussy whipped. I didn't sign up to be bossed around by no woman," said the man holding a gun to Mackenzie's back. "Gem might have gotten us out, but I'm about fed up taking orders from her." "I told you before, Leon, what she don't know won't hurt her." The man behind Caroline leered, groping at her ass. "This one bit me when I was adjusting her gag, and I'm looking forward to breaking her in." "Mickey, I don't know that's a good idea. You know what Gemma did to Nick." "Nick was stupid enough to get caught. I ain't getting caught." They entered a spacious suite, pristine with its perfectly angled sofa cushions and tautly stretched bed linen. The man holding Maggie released her bound wrists and turned to Mickey. "West wants me back downstairs. If I were you, I wouldn't be touching anything until he's paraded them around. Hard to hide bruising when they're naked." Grappling with the makeshift gag, Maggie yanked it free. "I'm 53. No one's parading me around naked," she yelled. "Some of us have been in the clink for years. We're not picky," Mickey said. "Prison?" asked Mackenzie. Leon had untied her gag and hands, and she rubbed at her raw wrists, wincing. "We'd still be there if Gemma hadn't come to get West when the shit hit the fan," said Leon. He shook his head, frowning. "Still don't mean she gets to call the shots now." "Leon, you good to look after the women? I'm taking Mickey downstairs with me," said the other man. "I don't have the patience for Gem losing hers over him fucking what isn't his." "We brought them in," objected Mickey. "We should at least get a crack at them before they go into rotation." Mackenzie's mind blanked on what rotation could mean. She sank to the floor, holding her knees to her chest and rocking gently. Gently, Just keep rocking, and nothing would touch her. She was cold and sweaty and thirsty. So thirsty. The carpet in the suite was nice, the expensive kind, probably wool. Mackenzie started stroking it. She could lie down right here and just go to sleep, and maybe when she woke up, she'd be back in Chloe's guest bedroom with Kat spooning her. A boot nudged her, and she groaned. It was the same spot she'd been kicked back in Chloe's kitchen. Get into the bathroom and clean up. You look like shit, Leon instructed. Maggie reached down to haul her to her feet, and the three of them, walking as a huddled mass, entered a bathroom that was larger than Mackenzie's bedroom back in Chicago. When Caroline tried to close the door, Leon thrust it back into her face. Nope, no closed doors. The last woman we had wiped her own shit through her hair, trying to make herself disgusting enough that we wouldn't touch her. Crazy bitch. Mackenzie rushed to the vanity and gagged into the marble sink. With shaky hands, she turned on the faucet, splashing water onto her clammy face and then cupping her hands to gulp at it. That's it, honey. Feel better? Maggie soothed, rubbing her back. Why are you so calm? Caroline hissed. Mackenzie took a deep breath. The water had steeled her resolve and cleared her head. Raising it, she caught Caroline's frantic eyes in the mirror. We need to get the fuck out of here, she whispered fiercely. We are not going to be some commodity that gets paraded around naked and then used, she spat. Where had this sudden strength come from, knowing she had nothing to lose? Because nothing could be worse than staying here as merchandise. Why is it so much worse that it's a woman who's doing this to us? Mac asked, recalling the satisfied smirk Gemma had worn. The thought made her spit into the sink, her saliva acidic. Hurry the fuck up in there, Leon called. You've got 2 minutes. They took turns washing their faces and using the toilet. The scent of expensive hotel soap only highlighted the stench of their fear-drenched bodies. When they emerged, Leon directed them to a plush sectional sofa and threw them cookies from the minibar. West is going to wait until tonight, when all the boys get back in from looting, so you ladies just relax, get some sleep. You won't get much later. He grinned. A pit opened up inside Mackenzie, dark and deep. Leon leaned back against the headboard, his boots smearing muck across the bed covering. He'd turned on the enormous flat-screen television and was flicking through the hotel's R-rated movie selections. Leon, what's going to happen to us? Mackenzie asked, leaning forward to catch his eye. They needed information, and maybe if they could establish some kind of connection with him, they could get him to help them. Same as what happens to all the women, he muttered, not taking his attention from the heaving breasts on the screen. Thank God it was muted. Caroline nudged her with a "what are you doing" expression. They can't all be monsters. We need to use his name. Let him know our names, she whispered. Make him see us as something other than merchandise. Mackenzie turned back to him. Leon, I'm Mackenzie, and this is Maggie and Caroline. Do you have a sister, mother? Because... Don't bother, he interrupted. I ain't gonna be your friend. The only friend I have is me, and that's who I'm looking out for. Me. His eyes flashed to hers and then back to the porn. The best I can offer you is some advice. Don't fight and try not to get beaten on. The more bruises you have, the more likely the next man will add to them until you're too beaten up and they shoot you. Got it? He turned up the volume. I'm never going to see my kids again. Caroline stuffed a fist in her mouth, tears spilling down her face. Someone will come for us, Mackenzie said fiercely. Who? Jake? Maggie asked wearily. Where's that boy of yours, Mackenzie? Because I didn't see him anywhere today. Maybe he's feeling guilty and couldn't show his face. Why would Jake be feeling guilty? Mackenzie hissed. How do you think Townsend knew about that meeting in the distillery? Jake was the one defending that asshole, and he was the one having closed-door meetings with the mayor. What? Jake would never put us in danger. It could have been Trent or Gavin. Did you see them today? Oh, honey, Maggie sighed. I'm not saying Jake meant for this to happen. That fool of a boy probably thought he was helping, telling Townsend our plans to keep the peace in Sanford. What was it he said? That Townsend's rules might seem severe, but they were for our protection, said Caroline. Mackenzie felt gut-punched. She collapsed back into the sofa cushions, her chin falling to her chest. Had Jake caused this? Why just us? Caroline said. We weren't the only ones. Who knows? We're expendable. He had to use someone to show the town what consequences looked like, Maggie answered. Those gunshots as they were taking us away from Town Hall, what do you think they were? Mackenzie asked, raising her head with new hope. Someone was trying to stop Townsend. Maybe. I know Donnie would have raised a fuss, but that boy of mine isn't stupid enough to single-handedly wage war against this gang. Jake will come, Mackenzie said stubbornly, and Jim, Chloe and the girls will come up with a rescue plan. We're not alone. Look around, girlie. We're alone. I know you don't want to believe Jake had anything to do with this, but he did. We're here because of Jake.